So I've had the e-Niro now for, well over a month actually now. Is it 2 months? Who knows? So you're probably wondering, you're probably not wondering, you don't care, but what do I think of it? Last time I came to the Ionity charger, I did quite a lot more video on the way there and back, but you know, I wanted to edit it together when I had some time, and I found some time. So this next video is what I kind of like and dislike about the Niro, and it's a bit of a weird kind of fragmented video, but anyway, enjoy. So let's talk about regen, as the Niro gives you a lot of control. This is the regen icon on the bottom left. It's in sport mode at the moment, so it's set to only one level of regen. If you don't know what regen is, it recharges the battery when you're slowing down or going down a hill. So increase the regen by using the paddle on the left, and there's a paddle on the right that will reduce the regen. So currently it's on auto, which means it will automatically change the regen based on whether you're approaching a junction or something. It's quite clever. And the other cool thing, is it cool? I don't know, it's kind of strange, but on the left paddle, if you hold that paddle down while you're driving, it will slow down to a complete stop. So it's like using the brake. And the strange thing about that is, normally the car creeps forward. If you just press the brake and then let go of the brake, the car will slowly creep forward. But if you do it with this regen thing, if you brake with that, then it's completely stopped. It's completely stopped and it doesn't creep again. And I can't think why it does it like that. It's just a strange kind of quirk of it, I suppose. I don't even know why you would use this regen thing, because as far as I can tell, it does regen using the brake or with this. But it's one of these cases of I need to look in the manual, don't I? Okay, so let's get going. Yeah, I mean, on auto regen, the idea of it is it's supposed to know whether you're coming up to a junction, a roundabout or whatever, and it's supposed to then it's supposed to adjust the regen accordingly. Now I was just approaching that roundabout there, and it didn't do anything. As far as I can tell, it didn't seem to slow the car down very much at all. But then it's in sport mode on the lowest level of regen, so maybe I wouldn't notice it. Can you hear that noise? That's the VESS. I don't know what that stands for. That's the VESS system, and that emits this sound to tell pedestrians that you're there. I don't like it very much, but it does work. Someone was complaining to me yesterday that they couldn't hear the car, and that's because I turn it off all the time, because I like an electric car to be completely silent, but you know, it's obviously safer to have it on. Beep beep beep. On a road like this, this is a road that's barely big enough for two cars, so you get like 1.5 cars, and it will keep going beep 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 all the time, and that's because I've got lane guidance switched on. And lane guidance is fantastic on the motorway, but on small country roads it's not great, because what it wants to do is keep you in the middle of the lane, and if it can't see 2 lanes, then that means keeping you in the middle of 1 lane. So it will push you over to the right into oncoming traffic, which isn't ideal. It only does a very slight nudge. I'm making it sound worse than it actually is. It's just a small nudge, but still it's a little bit annoying, and of course it will keep beeping over and over again because it thinks you're too close to the curb. So yeah, I'm just getting a gentle nudge all the time, so let's turn that off. It's such a smooth, quiet car, this. In a previous video I was saying that I thought the Leaf was smoother, and in some ways it is. So with acceleration, it feels smoother from a stop. Okay, so one of the things I really love about the Niro is it does have a kind of autopilot. Keep your hands on your steering wheel. Yeah, it's not autopilot, but you know, it keeps you in your lane and it keeps you regulated with the car in front. It keeps your space with the space with the car in front. So that's really good, and I use it all the time on motorway driving, and it makes things so much more relaxed. And all you have to do is set your cruise control. You press the mode button here, and then you press down to set the speed. So it works like cruise control on pretty much every car, I imagine. And then you just have a sort of a, look ma, no hands. There we go. And it's as simple as that. If you want to overtake, of course you still can. Put your foot down and it will allow you to. It's not going to stop you at the speed you're at. But you know, it's a pretty zen experience, really. It's quite spooky the way it does it. It's not always perfect. I've had it kind of go wibble a little bit, but you know, by and large, it's pretty good. If the lane markings are good, then it's fine. And it is kind of because it's got this sensor and camera or whatever in the front to keep you at the correct distance. If the car in front does brake, then it will brake as well, as hard as it needs to stop you in time. And that applies even when you're not doing cruise control. It will still do it, even just around town. So I like to keep a good distance between me and the car in front, because I don't like driving up people's bottoms. But if you do want to get closer, then all you have to do is press this button down here, and as you press that, it will get a little bit closer, and then you can drive a bit more angry if you wanted to. But I don't want to. We're in an EV, so you know, it's more relaxed, isn't it? And you know that everything's engaged if there's a little green light, a little green icon for the lane control and the steering wheel. That means you've got cruise control with lane assist on. Can we take off lane assist on cruise control? Would you want to? Maybe you would. And yes, you can. So the Niro is really, you know, it's got some cool tech inside it. It's a speedy car, this. Once you put your foot down, it really goes nicely. And no, it's not Tesla fast. But what is Tesla fast? I should really know my statistics, shouldn't I? It's like 7 point something seconds. It's fast enough anyway. When I drove the Model S, that was a 75D, and that shocked me how fast that was. Even just the 75D, I think I would probably faint and die if I tried the ludicrous mode in the 100D, or whatever they call it these days. It's not the 100, is it, anymore? It's something else. Do they just call it performance? I don't know. Anyway, so even just a 75D, the G-force was enough to make me feel a bit faint. It's sad, really. I would love to be a fighter pilot, but That's not going to happen, is it? So yeah, so this car is fast, and I've been dying to have one of those points where you get someone next to you, like a boy racer next to you, who wants to hammer it, and they think, oh yeah, you know, I can go fast, and then, you know, I want to go with this. That hasn't happened yet. I'm looking forward to it. Problem is, I'm driving around my wife and daughter most of the time, and they would not be happy if I did that, because they both get car sick. Less so now we've got electric cars. It was more of a problem before. Well, it stopped raining for a bit, but just to mention that when it does rain, the wipers do come on automatically. There was a recent video by Robert Llewellyn on Fully Charged about the Model 3, and he seemed quite surprised when it did that. But I think that's fairly standard, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, this one does it. So the seats in here, they're not as, in some ways they're not as comfortable as the Leaf's seats, or they're not as luxurious feeling. But what it does have is great lumbar support, and I suffer from a bad back, a bulging disc apparently, and so the lumbar support is really important. It's really good. Got loads of controls on the side of the seat, and it pushes in the base of your spine, and it gives me nice support. What is a bit of a shame, it's not a shame, it was the same in the Leaf, but it's you can't do presets for each person that sits in the car, which is a shame. That's one of the things in the Tesla that I would have loved, because my wife is quite a bit shorter than me, and so every morning I have to put the seat back and upright a bit more. You know, that really is a first world problem. But this is not a cheap car, so I think one should expect little things like that, really. But anyway, I'm certainly splitting hairs. So one of the things that I was most excited about getting this car is that it had CarPlay, because the Leaf didn't. The new Leafs do, I think, but the old one didn't. So I was really excited about that. And CarPlay actually turns out is pretty good. I'm quite impressed. Siri is awful, I think. Whether you use it in a car or whether you use it at home. I mean, my God, we've got a HomePod. And the amount of times I ask to hear something that I've heard hundreds of times before, and I won't say, hey, because then it will start it now, but you know, I ask it to play something and it plays something completely different, and I don't know whether that's not understanding my accent or just general stupidity. But my guess is that if you have an Android phone, you probably get far better directions and everything using Android Auto. I don't have an Android phone, and I'm not going to get one anytime soon, so I can't test that. The thing about this car that amazes me is that it's a proper car. It's like a normal car, but with all the added benefits of it being electric. And yeah, you know, you could argue, well, Teslas have been like that for a long time in terms of, you know, fantastic range and all the other goodies. And that's true, but Teslas, I think, probably scare people a little bit more. You know, amazing what they do, over-the-air updates, all the rest of it. But it feels perhaps a bit too different for the average Joe. Whereas average Joe would get into here and it looks like a normal car and it feels like a normal car. It does a normal car range, really. I mean, 300 miles easily 300 miles, I think. If you don't do a lot of motorway journeys, it's easily 300. I've adjusted my driving style for the Leaf. I would drive much more carefully than I did before, and actually I quite liked that. It was like a Zen experience. But you don't have to adjust your driving style at all in this. Even in eco mode, it feels like a decent punchy kind of car. And so without any effort at all, I get 4.4 miles per kilowatt hour. And that's every day. It's a 5.5 mile journey to school and back. Half of that 30 miles an hour, the other half going up and down hills. Sometimes at 60, but generally much less than that. So if it was just doing city miles, you know, I've seen people get 5.5 miles for each kilowatt hour, and then that's a really, really good range. And it's electric. You charge it at home. It baffles me that anyone would want anything else. And people are so angry about electric cars, and I don't get it. I can't work out whether it's like a jealousy thing. I don't know what it is. I mean, someone on Twitter the other day was saying, yeah, you know, tell me when it does 500 miles. Who does 500 miles? And also, my God, my bladder can't handle that. I drove across America, and I don't think we did 500 miles in one sitting. Because you want to stop, you want to pee, you want to have a break. It's not good to drive so much anyway. So you want to take a break, you want to get some food. So EVs kind of force you into that, I think, and that's a great thing. One could argue that it takes too long to charge, and it does, but that's improving, and in the next couple of years, I think, as the infrastructure improves, we'll find that less and less of an issue. I spend most of my time driving around in eco mode, because actually it's perfect, and only because I'm trying to deplete the battery now a little bit to get to the charger. This is the only reason I'm in sports mode now, and because I'm on my own and not with wife and child. And it does feel quite sporty, so it lives up to the name, sport mode. You do get the feeling that it will just take off the moment you put the accelerator down. Just as I say that, we go into a 30 zone. So what other niggles do I have about the e-Niro? Well, yeah, not many really. I've moaned before about the interior being a bit crap. And crap's the wrong word, actually, because it really isn't crap at all. It's fine. But there's a plethora of scratchy plastic. I don't care particularly, you know. It is a Kia, it's not a Jag. So that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. And I would assume it's the same as the normal Niro in that respect. So at the end of all that, what have we established? Well, I love the Niro. It is a normal car that happens to be an EV. It seems to go forever on the charge. It's just a great car, and I love it. And if anyone that followed my videos from early on will know that I wanted a Model 3. That was always kind of my dream, and this always felt like a compromise. Well, it isn't a compromise at all. It's actually a really good car, And I can say hand on my heart that I don't even slightly regret not getting the Model 3. Not at all. It's a brilliant car. At the end of the 2 years, then I'll see what else is available. But until then, I'm not looking at Tesla saying, oh, I wish I had one of those. I'm really not. I love the car. My wife loves the car. And other than a small, very, very small set of niggles, really, it's brilliant. And if you decide to get one, you'll have to wait, obviously, a long time. But if you decide to get one, you are getting a really good car. All right, that's it for now. And well, the next video is going to be me at Fully Charged Live. That makes me sound like I'm talking there, but I'm not. But just be me walking around, so and catching up with some friends. So I'll speak to you then. Bye for now.